Good day, my friend.
Hello, hello. Morning.
Morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Never better. Living the dream.
Yep. Feel that. Yeah, I'm just trying to stay ahead of all these updates with everything that's coming out.
Dude, it's crazy. It's funny. I'm not even looking at the updates. I'm just looking at your Instagram.
Hey, there we go.
You are my update source.
Hell yeah, love that.
It's crazy though. The Sora release, it's going to disrupt so many industries.
If they can get it working.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it. Everything was down yesterday.
Yeah, I noticed. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised though. Like they just launched it. Their system is flooded.
There was a Reddit thread somewhere where they were saying that they accidentally DDoSed themselves by adding it to Apple phones.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like the DDoS attack is when you have basically too many people hitting your server all at once.
Oh, got
And
it.
they accidentally did that to themselves by releasing it to all iPhones.
Oh, no way. That's crazy.
And that's why it was down yesterday.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's definitely not it's not what I would expect because this is the first time in history that a feature is coming out for the Apple iPhone not made by Apple.
Right. Yeah.
The only other ones I could think of are like 3G to 4G to 5G. But again, those are the chips, like those are the Qualcomm chips that Apple is purchasing for the phones in the first. It's like it's not even like what is Apple doing? Like they dropped the ball so hard on AI in general. Like still,
hmm I mean, even their release, like they sold the iPhone 15 with AI features that didn't have AI features.
and they kind of still don't unless you updated to what was it 18.2 yesterday, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, I'm not buying it now. Like I'm gonna wait probably till the next one.
And I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are just waiting for the bugs to smooth over.
Yeah, like like an upgraded camera doesn't do anything for me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, also all of Meta was down all of yesterday too. Not all of yesterday, but a good portion of yesterday too.
Oh, really? So this is probably the first time in over 6 years that I didn't notice when Meta was down because I'm not required to use it for work every
Really,
day. Yeah.
That's funny. How'd that feel?
Feels
Did you? I
good,
mean,
man. Feels really good, actually.
did you even know before I said it that?
Nope. Don't know. Don't have to know.
Not a bad place to be in, my friend.
No, it's not bad. It feels good. Tomorrow is my last official day at the agency, and then we get our final payout and final bonus payout tomorrow, which is exciting. So
And then you're
almost done.
full
Clean
done
slate.
done.
Yeah,
Hell
done,
yeah,
done. Yeah, which will feel really good.
that's incredible. Long time coming.
It is a long time coming, but we signed the deal December last year. We didn't get our first payout until February, which is February 1st was the initiation of the contract. And now tomorrow, December 13th, Friday the 13th, fingers crossed, it all goes well. Everything will be done. We're all wrapped up. So when you think about it, it's like you transitioned out of a service-based agency inside of a year, which is not that bad.
It's crazy how fast that. I mean, you could have said, "Oh, that was signed," now and like, "Oh, yeah, that sounds about right."
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So
cool
yeah,
though.
feeling good.
What do you like feel different about life now?
I feel it's so weird because now I don't. You have more money than ever, but you don't have an income. So you feel broke. You're not, but you feel like okay, better figure out what you're gonna do next. I'm also just going crazy trying to figure it out. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's I've been concentrating so much on mobile app development.
yeah, yeah. The I think that's definitely over the last 10 plus years. That's definitely one of the things that I've become very comfortable with. Probably to a detriment to like a point of being bad, where like I'm okay not making money
Right.
because I know that I can.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think that you're a far more experienced operator and business owner than most people, and you're more technically proficient than most people. So because of that, you try to do harder things. Whereas running an agency is not a hard thing. It's kind of like business level one. So I stayed where I was comfortable in business level one because it's where I knew that I could make money. Whereas you're trying these like really difficult things that require funding and scale and like mass adoption for it to be profitable. So I think that's the difference. Like you're actually good at running a business where I was just sort of running a service.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I definitely see the value, like the deeper I go into this, the more value I see with funding and like what that brings to the table versus trying to bootstrap everything yourself. And in the period of getting to like a million MRR, the problems and things that come along to that, you know, during that process are so different at the different stages. And like last year, for example, like when we launched last year, I think the high level theme was, is this even possible to like, will people even buy this?
Yeah.
Is this even a business? This year it was, oh, we proved that there is some level of product market fit. So it's not like a question of, oh, is this going to work anymore? It's working. I think next year is, how do we dial those things in specifically to, you know, get a percentage bump here, 1% decrease of churn here, like these little levers to pull up and down to then be able to catapult that growth to crazy levels.
Yeah, you're fine tuning it now. I mean, this time last year, I remember you showing it to me and seeing where I had the aha moment. And then I remember looking at videos of other people. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I can't remember. But you were showing it to other people and seeing when they caught on of like, wow, this is really cool. And I can see the application for myself.
Yeah.
Whereas now that problem is solved. Like people have the aha moment, or you know the points where they're going to have it. And now it's just about fine tuning acquisition and churn metrics, basically.
Yeah. The use case is also quite interesting as well, and it's evolved. And the more I talk with customers, the most beneficial thing I've ever done with the business by far is like doing that thing that doesn't scale, which is talk to customers myself.
Right. Yeah.
And getting that feedback. And as the leader of the vision of the company and where it's going, like having that interactivity is, I think, it's so invaluable. I mean, it's almost like the social media stuff. Like it's there, but it's so valuable. Like anyway, oh fuck, where was I going with that?
That's okay. I've got to point to that anyway. So you told me that last week, like before you sink a bunch of money into it, talk to your users.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I did. I talked to about a dozen people this past week
Okay.
and got really good feedback. So
Okay.
I'm more excited than I was before, because before I'm like, is this idea going to work? Is it not? But now I have the beginnings of waitlist forming, and I've gotten some good feedback, and I got to practice my pitch,
There we go. Nice.
which is great. So I'm kind of doing a 2-in-1 where I'm talking to content creators that are making parent-related content in our space and showing them the app and asking what feature they think they could show if they were to make content on it.
Smart.
And I'm trying to see where their aha moment is. And then at the same time, I'm pitching them and seeing if we can retain them on long-term creator contracts.
That's very smart, because they probably don't even realize that you're basically just data mining them.
No, exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Data mining their brain.
Yeah, exactly.
That's smart, dude. That's a really
Yeah.
good idea. I like that a lot.
Yeah, thanks.
That feedback will be, yeah, very. Is there any like feedback that you got that completely like shifted or any preconceived notions that you had before that are now different?
More like reaffirmed what I thought was going to happen, which is it's going to be more useful for new parents than people that have 4 kids and know what they're doing. Because so for anybody listening, it's basically a parenting assistant. It's kind of taking like Google, Gemini, and OpenAI language models and basically making a chat interface for parents to ask questions, upload images, and just get advice on like what do you do with your kid. Because if you're brand new at this, you feel like you need a license to look after them. Like you really don't know what you're doing at first. So that one was confirmed because a lot of people when they're brand new have all the same questions. But then the part where it differed is how people will advertise it. So there are some creators we spoke to that are great at making like what my 2-year-old eats in a day. And then they make this like great food content and show the recipes for kids and stuff like that. We have other people that are more pediatric where it's what type of rash is this, how to deal with tantrums, things like that. So they would do more of a photo upload on rash analysis or how to calmly get your child out of the grocery store when they're throwing a fit, things like that. So I think the way that you advertise it will vary dramatically, but that's where I'm coming back to just common advertising practices, which is pull into an emotional appeal and only show one feature at a time. So that's the part that we're going to try to figure out.
And in the way that you asked the influencers for that feedback, I just did a quite a successful brand deal actually with a major graphic design company.
Wondering if you can say the name.
You're wondering if I can say it. I'll just err on the side of caution and say it's a graphic design company.
Was it posted already?
If you go to my TikTok, you'll be able to see it. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's got like 500,000 views. It crushed.
Nice.
The agency that was managing that brand deal, that relationship, they reached out to me and asked me for, I think it was 2 or 3 different script ideas of what the video would be, exactly like you say, based on the feature that I find the most interesting.
Okay.
And as we know, these graphic design companies have literally a billion features and integrations and different things. And so I just picked out the one that I talk about and use the most, which is like the background remover tool, like the magic eraser tool, like all these tools that I use literally on a daily basis, and just filmed that. And like, that's actually what I use on it's a real use case. And then they picked like one of the ones that I had made and filmed it real quick, put it up, and yeah, it crushed.
So what was the process like for you working with, I guess, an influencer agency? And then did they do the negotiation with the brand on your behalf and then present you with the deal, or how did that work?
Yeah, so this is actually, I would say this is by far the most professional agency that I've ever worked with on the influencer side, other than the DHL deal that I did last year. They had all their... What's that?
That one was huge.
That one was huge. Yeah, that's by far the biggest one I've done to date. And yeah, in terms of literally every metric. But it's very similar. That was a 5-figure deal. This one was $500.
Okay.
Okay.
How did they get you to do a deal for $500?
I dropped my rate to $500 because my views don't command the $2,500 per video that I used to be getting when it gets 100,000 views. It just, and based off of all the things that we went over last week, calculating average CPMs and all those metrics, it's literally just not worth it for a business to pay me, even though I have the followers and just like we said last week,. Don't matter. It's the amount of engagement and views that you're getting on a piece of content.
Right.
So if I'm not able to just organically get that amount of action, then why would a brand pay that much? So seeing that and still getting hit up, I mean, several times a day to make videos for companies, I was like, I'll just be way more restrictive of the brands that I work with because I don't necessarily need to make $500.
Yeah.
It's more of just kind of like that deterrent of, do I want to work with you or not? And now I just choose reputable companies that I'm already aware of or I'm already a customer of. And then it makes it so easy for me to promote it because I'm actually a paying customer. I actually like it. I actually use it. It's not just some bullshit AI fucking, startup,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is what I was doing all last year. But
Sure, sure. But you were making more money from brand deals
I
last
was
year, whereas this
making
year,
way more money. Yeah,
yeah.
not even
And
close.
now Stammer's in a different position. You probably don't have to.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to do in the first place. I don't want to do freaking brand deal. It sucks. I hate it's not fun. It's like a 9 to 5. Like you're doing work for another company and helping their company grow, and it's just like that's not self-fulfillment.
Yeah. It's kind of like an agency in that way where you have multiple clients. You can make
Yeah,
a great cash, but at the end of the day, there is not substantial equity that you're building.
yeah.
And in the case of brand deals, it's worse. There's no equity. If you're not there, there's nothing.
There's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, this agency that managed the brand deal, they did the negotiation, they did the contract side. They were middlemaning between the information that I gave them to the client and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they were very professional, very on point. Like the contract was probably one of the longer like more in-depth, longer contracts that I've done for one of these deals. The process too of like uploading it specifically to the TikTok management side of things so that they could do a brand approval. Like I've only done that with DHL, and it kind of makes sense. Like the brands that are these massive companies, these massive brands, they would have the agencies and the processes and the SOPs that are doing all these things in the right way.
Right.
Whereas the new AI startup has no freaking idea of what they're doing. And it's just like, yeah, send me a fucking Google Drive link,
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So did they give you creative restrictions? What were the guidelines when you had to make content for them?
There was guidance on what they wanted me to talk about in terms of like the call to action. They're running a deal for the holidays. But then they basically gave me full creative control over the whole process. They then came back with changes, requests, and edits to where we did, I think, 5 versions, which is way more than I typically do. I usually would only include one edit or like one re-edit. But they asked for a few things, and it wasn't that difficult because it was minor changes like, change the on-screen text from what you have to this. I didn't have to refilm anything, which is why I did 5 revisions, which was key.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Would you say that less creative restrictions or giving you total creative freedom would make it more likely for you to take on a brand deal? If they just said like, here's the product or here's the app, just make a video about it however you want, and we don't require any revisions or approval.
That's how I would like it to lead off. But then I would also like some guidance. Like if I'm not familiar with what you're doing, so like in that scenario, I know exactly how to promote it. I know the product in and out. I've been a customer of it for 10 years.
Right. Okay.
On the other hand, they're something brand new that no one's ever heard of ever before. I would want some sort of guidance of what has worked in the past for other creators or what you think would be good kind of guardrails of how to promote this. Maybe examples of other people. And this is what they gave me. They're like, here's 7 examples of other creators that have done videos in the past. Here you go. Here's all the links. And as I go through those, I can see that, this guy did it in his style for his, and I was like, I just need to do it in my style, which is little intro hook, film the screen, do a voiceover, done. And that's exactly what they were looking for because it matches the rest of my content library.
Yeah. 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 And then did they require a CTA at the end?
Yes. And
Okay.
so here's a very interesting point. So I put the CTA at the end exactly like they wanted it. Sent them the video, the revision, and this was I think revision 4 or 5. And then I send it over, and they're like, "Hey, actually, we want to move the call to action to the beginning of the video at like between 3 and 5 seconds of the video." And I was like, "We could do that, but it's going to completely throw off the flow of my video. I'm going to have to refilm shit. So no, it's actually better if we just put it on text on screen in the beginning of the 3 to 5 seconds, not me refilming the whole video." And they're like, "Oh, great. That's a great suggestion." Like, boom. So it's like,
Right.
I kind of pushed back a little bit on that with them. Cause I don't care, but I also know that that's going to ruin the video. Like, people are going to
Yeah.
know it's an ad immediately and then leave.
And that's probably where they should trust you. Be like, hey, he has literally done this thousands of times. Let's just follow his lead. He can keep his style. It'll probably work better that way.
And it did. Like,
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
worked.
Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something that I've learned talking to creators is that they're really wary to add a call to action because every brand deal wants to add a call to action and they don't want their Instagram to just be a sales page.
Yeah.
Because then you just tarnish your views and following. Every time someone sees your face, they know they're going to be sold to, and they're like, no, I'm good, and they stop watching.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is in our contract and in our creative brief, we have 4 creators closed now, by the way. It's pretty exciting.
There you go.
We say explicitly there is no call to action. There is no overt sales message, and you don't need to mention the app at all. All you want to do is make a video and show that you use the app. You just show a phone recording a phone showing the app. That's it. And we updated actually the whole layout of our app. We updated the spacing between everything so that we made room for the logo at the top of every screen. Specifically because we know that we're going to grow with influencer marketing. So now, however the user is using the app, they're going to see the logo at the very top. So the content creator, however they're filming it, the logo will be at the top. And then the only requirement is to tag us in the caption and pin the comment, "What app is this?" and then tag us in the reply. And that's it. There's no call to action. Don't say go download it, like none of that, because I think that will actually kill views. We just want people to naturally ask, "What is this?"
Okay, that's really good.
I hope so.
That's a really good strategy, and I'm definitely gonna try that.
I completely ripped this off from Cal AI.
I mean, smart. That dude's ripping.
It's ripping. These guys are doing 1.2 a month.
And that was a couple of weeks ago.
Nah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, yeah, I think that's helping us because we're saying no creative restrictions. We don't care what you talk about in the app. Here's some examples of what you can talk about. Like, these are the key features that we think are going to be really important. So here's some ideas, but the only requirement is to show that you're using the app and tag us in the caption. And that's it. And then there's a couple little things like when people ask, "What app is this?" pin the comment, tag us in the reply, little stuff. But I think that now selling in the comments is sometimes more important than even having a direct link.
It's just like, it's kind of like Reddit now. Like, you don't read the Reddit post, you go to the comment section to see what people are talking about the post. Yeah.
Exactly.
My kind of version of that I did last year, 2 years ago with all the brand deal stuff was I would not have a call to action. I would just I would physically show the website URL and be like, "Check it out at blah blah blah.com." Like, to me, that was kind of that middle ground between call to action and nothing. Before the automated DMs, thing came out, basically en masse.
Yeah, I remember when you did that. I remember the first couple times I saw it because you feel like I caught you. Like, I saw the URL he's using. It's like you're talking about this crazy software, and then I peek the URL at the top and I pause the video. I'm like, okay, I'll go find it. I think that
Yeah.
was a good strategy at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I don't think that it works as well, but I'm also not trying to just overthink things. The point I forgot about earlier was like how we're in such a bubble of a lot of different things. For me, AI, for you, probably marketing and advertising. And we're, that like that story or example when it talks about like a bachelor's degree gets you like this much knowledge, and then a master's degree gets you, this much knowledge, and then a PhD just gets you like the little point of specific knowledge, but you don't have more knowledge. It's just like so specific of what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like we have that knowledge of, or we do the work of such specific things, which is what I mean by the bubble. And when we go into real life, when I go into real life and talk to people that are not in that bubble, the use cases and reasons that they're using AI, specifically for my use case, are so far like lower than what I've built with Stammer.
Yeah.
And I'm now realizing that that's kind of in a lot of different areas in business where as founders, we see like we're building for the future. And to us, it's kind of like, it's obvious. It's like, it's obvious that's where things are going, but we have to wait for the market to catch up to that vision. And it's tough.
But therein lies your opportunity because it almost feels like you can see the future.
Yeah.
Even the fact that you are tracking the 12 days of OpenAI, how many common users are tracking that information? Like when you see it, you can think about all the applications that are going to come out, all the ways that you can use this tech. Mm-hmm. And the common user is still just opening up ChatGPT 3.5 and asking a question.
Literally, exactly this. I was on a call with a customer the other day, and he was telling us that loves the platform, loves everything, all knowledge base, scraper, everything. He was like, all of our, like 3/4 of my customers are using it to write emails. Like upload a knowledge base and then just write emails in their voice, basically.
Wow.
And I was like, no freaking way. Like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. Like, I don't know. That kind of like blew my mind. I was like, we're trying to build for the PhD level when the majority of people are still using ChatGPT to write freaking emails.
Yeah.
I played pickleball last night, and I was in the hot tub afterwards, and a couple people joined, started chatting, and this guy's doing e-commerce with some company. This guy's doing his Shopify store selling silver jewelry, and then we start talking about, they ask me what I do, and so I give the spiel, and then we start talking about ManyChat and Instagram automation DMs, and neither of them have used any AI for anything on their business. And
really,
yeah.
And they're in this world, kind of. They're in the e-commerce.
Kind of. Yeah. He's like, this one guy runs a fairly successful like silver jewelry company, e-commerce, and we were talking about like Instagram DM automation, like CRMs, ads, TikTok shop. Like we were straight up shop talk. And my friend sitting next to me, I told her, I was like, I love this. This is what I love doing.
Yeah, totally.
She's rolling her eyes, just shut up, But neither of them had used pretty much anything yet, other than like that simple example of, let me just like make some ads or ad copy or write some emails. And I'm like, oh man, like we're so far ahead. Maybe we need to kind of like reel it back a little bit because real people are just not there yet.
Well, okay, yeah, but I think reel it back needs to come with an asterisk because the tech still needs to be really, really good. It just needs to be really simple to use.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference on reeling it back. You can't sacrifice the quality.
No. And what I mean by reeling it back is like making it easier for people to have that use case or like be able to do and sell that use case.
Yeah. Making it easier for the common person to just jump in and use it. That's
Exactly.
why I think I've been looking so much at UI UX of apps. That's where I
Hmm.
think ChatGPT kind of broke the UI UX model because it is the simplest layout
Yeah.
ever of an app, but it's probably the most complex tech.
Yes. And that's what I'm seeing as that's the UI that we need to provide.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a chat widget that can then be embedded to a web page that can then be used by a person, which it works right now and fine, but it's not optimal. It's just not optimal. Like
Hmm.
it needs to be better. And that, I mean, that to be honest, that's been something on our roadmap for a while. We've been calling it Master Chat, which is like kind of a UI that looks like Chat GPT that you can interact and talk with different AI agents for different things. But it still has access to your knowledge base. So it's
Okay.
more of
Interesting.
an internal facing tool rather than the external facing tool. And from that feedback, it's like it seems like more people are starting with internal rather than external.
Hmm.
They're getting their AI aha moments from the internal side. And then they're like, oh, this is insane. How do we then replicate this for external for our customers?
When you say internal, you mean like I have a problem and it solved my individual problem, like writing an email?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense though from a usability perspective. Like everybody's thinking, what's in it for me? Right. So when you open the AI, it's what can this do for me? How is this going to solve my immediate problem? Or
Hmm.
even just how you're working in the moment will probably affect how you use the tech. Like if I'm doing something creative, I might try to produce something creative with AI. Or if I'm
Yeah.
writing, I might try to write.
Yeah. I think that, like, back to your original point, that's what I think Sora and all these video and image generation tools, I think this is where those are going to go crazy nuclear. The amount of like A/B testing at scale that you could do for short form content with intro hooks and just visuals that are engaging. I mean, it's going to be insane.
Hmm. I didn't even think about that. I mean, the way that they pitched it or the way that the homepage looks like, it it looks like it looks like it could disrupt the longer form animated content side, but I don't know how it looks to like replicate short form or try to replicate myself and split test intro hooks. You probably know better than I do. Like, do you think that the application is more short form video or is it making really high quality long form content?
No, it's short form for sure right now. Actually, I
Really?
think even on the $200 a month pro plan, you only get 20 seconds of generation,
Oh,
which
interesting.
is basically nothing.
Yeah.
Enough for an intro hook, basically,
Sure.
or content that you could clip together to create something else, like a highlight reel type thing.
Hmm.
That's kind of the early examples that I've been seeing, like how like using so like those classic TikTok video, like brain rot TikTok videos where it's showing a Minecraft video or that car driving down the thing.
Yeah.
Instead of that, it could be an AI generated flying horse that looks real. Uh, or there was another example I saw where it's like a tiger fighting a panda bear in a boxing match, but it looks real. And it's like you're gonna watch that. You're gonna stay in. You're not scrolling past that because it's so unique and interesting. That
Yeah,
actually might
that's
be
really
something
cool.
interesting to try myself. Actually,
Have you seen have you seen all the TikTok pages? It's only in the US because the Creator Marketplace Fund is pretty big there. But they just make brain rot videos and make tens of thousands of dollars off Creator Marketplace every month. See, those pages are going to go fucking bananas with
yeah,
this. Imagine
yeah.
200 bucks a video and you're printing like $1,000 per video. You can just rinse and repeat that brain rot content.
I mean, yeah, and then you extrapolate that to like YouTube Shorts, where you could get 50 million views on a YouTube short, and the monetization on that would make you literally hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Like the whole Faceless stuff is such a shiny that I've had to actively be negative towards it, because I'm like, I can't do another thing. I've realized I am not Elon Musk, and I'm okay with that.
Sure. Yeah. You need to stick to one startup at a time.
Yes. Until I have a couple $100 billion to hire whoever I want. Yeah. And that's fine. I've come to terms with that.
So easy to get shiny object syndrome, especially for something like that just seems so easy.
Yeah, when you see these, 16-year-olds tweeting, if you're not making $3,000 a day with TikTok Faceless channel, you're a fucking loser, And it's like, all right, we've seen that tweet now. You and I have now seen that tweet in 12 different ways with different shiny object things over the years. Like,
yeah, we've seen all the crypto cycles, the like altcoin staking cycles, the e-com cycles, drop shipping. Like, it's all the next little thing of bullshit. The thing that always pulls me back though is if you're not actually doing something valuable for the world, then it's either going to be short term, or it's probably not going to feel that good. Like, if your entire income stream was just making brain rot videos, do you think you'd feel really good about the work you're doing every day?
I wouldn't. Early on after college, when I'm trying a lot of different things, I put my shot towards trading stocks and day trading, right?
Yeah.
And at one point I realized I was like looking at graphs and numbers and companies all day long, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, this is so not fulfilling at all. Like, I'm not building anything. I'm just looking at numbers and charts. This is gross. Like,
you're not adding value to other people, and every time you win, someone else loses.
I mean, yeah, I didn't even think of that, but that's even worse. Like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. To me, it was just like, I recognized that early on as I need to do something that is fulfilling to me, but yet still the result of the game is money.
Yeah, exactly. I felt the same way. This is why for a long time, I don't think this way now, but for a long time, I really hated the course creators, because everybody is selling a course on how to start an agency, on how to start a dropshipping business, on how to start XYZ, whatever, insert business model here. And I really hated the agency one, because eventually someone has to do the work. If everyone is just selling the course on how to do the thing, eventually someone has to do the thing. And me, as the guy that's doing the thing, that's the providing the service and hiring people and like taking on, these massive payroll amounts to be able to actually serve customers. Anyway, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I really hated that business model for a while, because you're not actually doing anything. You're just telling people how to do the thing. But eventually, someone's got to do the work at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think there was a big wave of people getting addicted to doing pre-work. Like, setting up the Notion board is not work. That's like procrastination, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. The pre-work, it's so true. It's so easy to throw shit on your to-do list and check it off and be like, oh yeah, I did so much today. And then tomorrow I'm going to do this thing, the thing that really matters. And then tomorrow you get bogged down in some more bullshit and you just don't end up doing the actual work.
Yeah. When in reality, all you need to do is pick up the phone, start dialing.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, exactly. You just got to sell.
Yeah. I also realized too, like you and I have now been in the online game long enough to recognize, I think, the difference between people that are doing the work and monetizing their knowledge through courses versus the people who are just selling courses because they realize that they can make more money doing that than the actual thing that they're selling to do.
100%. 100%. And listen, I don't have anything wrong. I don't have anything against selling courses if the content is valuable. If you've been through the trenches and you've learned something and now you're monetizing that knowledge, good for you. But it's really easy to lie about doing something and then sell people on the dream of what you've done. And then you use the revenue that you generate on selling bullshit to make yourself look even bigger to sell even more courses. That's the dirty cycle that I don't like.
Exactly. I agree 100%. And also when in that scenario, when I see people not doing what they're selling, like if they're just selling a course on that topic and not also having an agency or also doing this, like where did that knowledge actually come from? Like show me where that came from as an entity.
Yeah.
And there's a few creators that I've started to see that have started to do this that previously I was like, oh, you know, I would align myself with these people, but now I'm kind of like,
I think you can get away with it for a bit. Like, let's say you're running an agency and then you start selling how to run an agency courses. You will make more money off of the courses, which rightfully so, you should spend more time on producing that content and advertising it. But eventually, like myself, let's say 2 to 3 years from now, when I've been out of the agency game for a while, the information that I have is going to be a little outdated. The info I have on like Instagram DM sequences or cold emails or
100%.
like all that stuff is not going to be super up to date. So unless you're in the game, you are just not going to have the most up to date information.
Exactly. There was a tweet yesterday that I will share here that I thought was really good. This guy is talking about how you want to get a master's degree in AI. And he's like, that's the stupidest thing you could possibly try to do because AI moves way too fast for traditional education. And
That's
I
so
was like,
true.
this goes for pretty much any degree besides accounting, pre-law, pre-med, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I remember so vividly in college when I was in like advertising and marketing classes and I was running we were running paid ads for the ecom brands and on Facebook, and this is like 2014, 2015. I'm running ads on Facebook and the professor of the marketing advertising class is not talking about Facebook ads because it's not in their curriculum. It's not in the textbook. It's not whatever. And I'm like, you're joking, right? Like, I don't think pretty much any piece of like the rate at which information is just being released in general is so fast now that how can you stay up to date with any topic other than things that don't change, like organ placement and like tax law, you know, like stuff that's been around for 100 years.
Totally. Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't think about it then, but I did the same thing. I did advertising, and we were talking about magazine advertising and print advertising and like ads on buses. I'm like, this is so irrelevant.
This is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You got like, have you ever run a business? Oh no. Oh, then why am I listening to you?
Kills me about unless you're in an Ivy League business school and the professors have some experience. These professors making $70K teaching you about business don't know a fucking thing about business.
So on the complete opposite flip side of that was one of the reasons why I loved a lot of my professors at Santa Clara, because they were also running tech businesses at the same time that they were teaching. So they would come in with, oh yeah, here's what we did this week, or here's what we tried. Like here's my company, and here's what I'm doing. And I was like, those classes were always so much more interesting because they would often go on tangents of like, here's what we're doing, and it's like, oh, I'm actually learning something from real people. And now, with more experience in life, you know, as a young college student, you're just teach me, you know. But now I'm like, oh yeah, there's actively bad teachers out there specifically for that reason, because they don't have any experience.
Yeah.
Specifically for business.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
The whole entrepreneurship thing got me going as well too. When people were like,
What
"Oh,
do you
I'm
mean?
gonna minor in entrepreneurship," and I'm like, I'm building a business. Like that's my minor
Yeah.
in
Exactly.
entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
Doing it. I'm doing it live.
That's funny. I didn't even know you could get a degree or minor in entrepreneurship. That doesn't make any sense. You'd be better off doing
It's
what's
so
what's
dumb.
the thing where you go work for someone as one of your terms? What's that?
Internship?
Yeah, an internship. You'd be
Yeah.
better to intern somewhere
Literally.
than
Yes.
to read about entrepreneurship in a textbook. So, okay, I've been thinking about this now. Change the topic, kind of. How how would you define yourself? Would you define yourself as a business owner or an entrepreneur? I wanted to hear your take on that because I'm between, not between ventures, but I'm like starting my second thing that will hopefully be successful after an exit. Do you say business owner? Do you say entrepreneur? What bucket do you fall in?
I would lean towards business owner probably.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, for example, like last night, the guy in the jacuzzi was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm in software." I know now not to just give the full spiel right away because it doesn't usually. Yeah, it goes. Yeah, exactly. Wait, what? White
Yeah.
labeling? What? Like, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm in software. And then the conversation originated out of like we were joking how nobody has a resume with experience because we and I was like, oh, it's because I've always done my own thing, not because I have not worked a job. It's just because I've never. Well, yeah, it's not. It's because I've not ever worked a job. I've always done my own thing.
It doesn't mean I've not been working. It means I'm not working
Exactly.
for someone else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that, I mean, that's how I explained it. I was like, I do my own thing. So the word entrepreneur kind of never came up, but it's clearly implied that that's the path. Are you seeing like
Yeah,
a
that makes sense.
in the way that you use that term, or
No, I'm not, but what I realized is I can no longer say business owner because I'm not actively running a profitable business. And
oh,
or like a
interesting.
successful business that's generating revenue. We're building an app and I'm spending a bunch of money to build it, but we're pre-revenue. We haven't launched yet. So I can't say that I'm a business owner. I don't have all the legalities sorted out for the app yet because I'm not going to go through the painstaking process of incorporating when I don't have any revenue. Like I need to see if it works first. So now I feel like I would downgrade. I'm like, I can't say business owner, but I can't say entrepreneur because that's just like another word for unemployed. So I don't know. I was just wondering how you thought about that.
You're overthinking it. You're a business owner for sure.
You're
Like,
probably right. Yeah.
yeah, that's silly. Like, that's just semantics.
Yeah. No, it is. I was just, Christmas dinners and like, oh, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. Nothing, I
I'm
guess,
an
right now.
entrepreneur. Oh, so you're broke.
Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably one of the dirty ways to use that word or have it be implied on you is and it's not a positive thing.
No,
More,
it's not
more
a positive
negative.
thing for sure. Because if you're a successful entrepreneur, you're not an entrepreneur, you're a business owner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Side tangent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, let's go back to the point of the call. What's up with Stammer this week? What's going on?
We brought on a new hire this week for
Nice.
technical support.
Where are they based?
Um, she's based with the dev team in Pakistan.
Nice.
In
Perfect.
office, which is
Perfect.
clutch. So we were given a 2 to 3 week training period. She started responding to tickets in 3 days.
Wow. That's awesome.
So yeah, she's picking up everything. So she has a background. She has a CS background. She has a degree in computer science, but we're bringing her on as customer support first to help learn the platform, learn how we want to engage customers and talk with them, but work eventually work her up to become a way to have customer interaction with the dev team without the dev team having to do that interaction. And so a lot of that process is customer reports a ticket or an issue. We then have to figure out or ask, can you please give us this information, or can you send us a screen? Like, we need more information than just there's a problem. And so there's some of that back and forth that has to happen in order to figure out what the actual issue is, and then figure out if it's a problem with our system or if it's a problem with they're just doing something wrong.
Right.
In both scenarios, it's still our fault, because if in the first scenario where they're doing something wrong, well, that's our fault because we don't have good documentation to tell them the right way to do it. Mm-hmm. So then we need to create a ticket or an issue to fix that. So there's always going to be something that the dev team gets there's always going to be something that's created for the dev team, regardless if it's an issue with our platform or not. And that takes up so much time away from the devs currently from deving versus customer support.
Right.
So I figured and their time is the most valuable. So like section that off over here, get a new person to place in that middle ground area. And then that alleviates Tim to work more closely with the dev team to figure out more technical stuff rather than customer support. So it's like, for me, I'm like, it's all about putting the right people in the right place and then adjusting as needed.
Is the goal then, is she going to be resolving some of the CS issues? Is that the idea?
That's the idea. So
Nice.
Eventually she could then talk with a customer, figure out what the issue is, create a ticket for that issue in GitHub, then go and solve it herself by coding the solution, and then pushing that to the dev team to review and implement and set to live into production. That process, I mean, is going to save hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, and thousands of dollars.
Yeah. She's 15 an hour. Full time.
It's a lot for Pakistan.
I mean, the quality that we are getting from this one university that we're recruiting from, it's top notch.
Yeah.
It's top notch. Yeah. Like I've not experienced this quality level of employees ever.
Yeah, I believe it. That's one thing that can be said for Pakistan, East Asia. I think so. Central Asia.
Middle East.
One thing that I can definitely say about Pakistan is you get some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet.
Yeah. And
Well,
they just attack problems.
Yeah.
Like there's no like defense mode. It's offense 24/7. I fucking love it.
I mean, their work problems are probably the easiest problems they deal with all day.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, they're showing us like the pollution there is insane. Like there's just like lots of problems. There's lots of problems everywhere, but
No, but they're for sure.
Yeah, it's just it's cool to see that it's working and we have an outlet to continually hire from this university for technical roles.
Yeah.
And I think as we expand, technical and development will stagnate. Like it won't be a linear scale to revenue, whereas I think support will be. But if we can do this in a route where it is technical support, it also benefits the dev team as more bandwidth to tackle more things and move fast. That's back to one of our original points. That's where I see the value of funding. Right now, I'm having to kind of like wait for revenue to catch up to be able to hire more people, which is bootstrapping 101. But if I had a couple extra $1 million, 10x the team, overnight, and see where that there's a lot of different pathways to that, but I see the value of it. And before I had completely written, they're just taking percentage for some money. Like Yeah, but you get faster growth. Like that's the result.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know me, I've been so averse to funding for so many years, but now that I'm the one funding everything and it's all very expensive, and I think to myself, I don't know if it's going to work 100%. I have a pretty good feeling that it will, but I don't know. Would I be willing to give up a piece of the pie to not spend 50, 100, $150,000 trying to build the product? Yeah, probably. And then would that piece of the pie also incentivize the right partner to be able to help me? Yeah. So maybe there's something to be said for it. I'm still generally pretty risk averse when it comes to taking on debt, but for something like software, you have seen the track record of Stammer, so you know what your risk appetite would be.
And I believe the banks will also be able to now see that, which is where
Right.
I'm kind of steering this. So instead of giving up equity for cash, I'm thinking I can go to a bank, and I've done this in the past, which is why I know I can do it. So that's the only reason I'm saying it like this. But I can just go to a bank and get a line of credit
Right.
now that we have an established business with multiple years of large monthly revenues.
Have you filed multiple years of tax returns for Stammer already?
Yes, because this business was basically like a reincorporation of the previous business. So it's the
Was this a
same.
reincorporation of SiteRight?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
of Tim's other business. So it's the same EIN number. It's just now a new entity.
Got it.
So from a tax return point of view, yeah, the business has been alive for like 5 years.
Okay. There you go. That's probably what I should do with digital then, because I was going to close down and open a new corp.
Is yours registered in the United States?
No,
No.
Canada.
And I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
how that
I'll
would.
figure it out.
Yeah.
That's a tax accountant, tax lawyer question.
Yeah. You might be able to do something interesting where like you create a new one and then you acquire digital as like an asset, which could then potentially have some sort of like tax write-off off of revenue that you generate from the new business.
That's interesting.
I just completely made that up, so I don't know if that's true or not, but
Yeah,
makes
I've been
kind of makes
getting
sense.
way more involved with tax law in Ontario lately because obviously I'm going to get absolutely gouged, but there's a lot that you can figure out before you start the corp to set things up properly, and you can use like trust and family trust structure. But once it's already set up, there's nothing you can do. The government's going to get their piece. Anyway, that's a story for another time.
Yeah. 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 Just ending it on a high note with tax law.
Yeah, exactly. That's why people listen to these calls. Tax
Yeah.
law.
This was a good one though. I think there's a lot of good sections and clips. I feel like we're firing it off this morning.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe the hour went by already. That was great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks everybody for joining. As always,
Yeah. We'll have this uploaded soon.
every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Be there.
There we go. Right on. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.